So hello everyone. Now we are taking the Indian Express newspaper in the second part of the session. And the very first news we have is regarding the Olympics, where the IOC chief, which simply means an International Olympic Committee chief, is saying that serious considerations interest in India on hosting Olympics. So International Olympic Committee here, the president is saying that India's great interest is in hosting the games and included in the 2028 edition, possibly in 2026, 36 also is giving a ring to India. So, I mean, this is a wait and watch matter. Let's see what happens. This is not that important for us. And Punjab police to MHA that pro Khalistan outfits abroad total 56 behind 15 killings across states. So here we can see that how the cooperative federalism has benefited, especially if we talk in the security apparatus, with the Punjab government itself providing the strategic and intelligence inputs to the MHA and to the intelligence agencies working in India to curb the Khalistani outfits and their activities in India's security landscape. But the irony is that despite having intelligence, the government is unable to have strict actions because of the lack of political support and diplomatic support in different countries where these terror outfits are operating their base. And the rest news is this only. And what we see is that there are a number of routine attacks which happens inside even the jails by these terror outfits. So Punjab today is in a very critical security situation where not only the internal matters are also posing a concern, but yes, the you know outside of the state and outside of the countries, the fueling of terror and the fueling of security threats are happening. So the government, let's see what actually government do for this. Then climate change risks cloud over India, cheap dreams, Modi's flags flood fears. So basically, our chips manufacturing is a cause of concern as far as the climate change risks are concerned, and ensuring incentives in the production system that will withstand with the climate change but not cause more damage. And domestic semiconductors we are building, and we are heading towards the um, higher production in the semiconductor technology manufacturing ecosystem we are creating by providing incentives, by providing economic zones, especially for that, for those semiconductors, especially the PLI scheme also has a lot of provisions for it. And the cost of flooding are expected to rise by around 30% from water stress 35, sea level rise 60, and heat stress 150% under a moderate climate change scenario. So these are a lot of concerning inputs as far as the climate change is concerned, because that is going to have a negative impact and number of repercussions on our production pattern. So obviously the policymakers and along with the civil society needs to take actions into this. Then our sports persons are winning medals, and according to Prime Minister, it is a sign of sporting nation. So obviously, India has a culture of sporting where, if we talk about the Vedic times, we talk about other times. So we have this javelin culture. Since those ages, we have the cultures of um, other sports since the ages. But because of the lack of support, the revival is happening now. Because for some time there was not support, institutional support, but now we are seeing the institutional support on a very large scale, which is supporting the our sports persons to actually um, bring the endeavor in their field. Then our Minister of Women and Child Development has launched a protocol to manage malnutrition in children. So basically, um, there are three types of deficiencies which have been seen in our children. Well, first is malnutrition, then stunting, and then wasting. So overall, it impacts their health and their cognitive development. Civil acute malnutrition has been mostly witnessed because of the lack of dietary requirements and livelihood conditions. So a protocol have been made out by the minister where 7.7% SAM children in the country, malnutrition children percentage this is, and monitoring data के behalf पे हम screening करते हैं children की at the OPDs, that is the outer patient department in the government hospitals as well as in the privates. So we will use their weight data, their height data for the measurement, and basically this is a good step as far as control of malnutrition is concerned. But yes, there are a number of steps which we need to take, and rehabilitation center has a potent role to play. Then the proper diet, and along with that, a safe and secure environment friendly culture be required. Then Rajnath Singh is in Italy. He's focusing on defense cooperation. So we can say that India and Italy are going ahead on defense partnership, where in maritime security, in intelligence, and as well as in defense cooperation, we are collaborating with each other, especially the R&D, the military field. So the domain awareness, co-development of the joint ventures are happening. Various private sector companies are also participating in these deals. Co-development, co-production, and complementary capacities are the prime focus between these two countries as far as the defense considerations are concerned. So soldiers who fought in Italian campaign in World War II, around 5,700 or 50,000 Indian Army troops lost their lives. So we have a lot of glamour as far as the Italy campaign in World War II is concerned, where our soldiers participated in very large numbers. So bogus work, forced bills in Manrega's irregularities go beyond Bengal, reports. Well, West Bengal is currently in the spotlight due to alleged irregularities in the Manrega scheme, especially in its implementation, where the funds have been diluted, and according to the national level monitoring report under the Ministry of Rural Development. So the reports also have a list of works where the Manrega funds could not be found existing on the ground, and Narega Management Information System. So this is a very good initiative where the management information system is being provided the constant data and inputs to these survey agencies and to these reporting agencies, which are finding the transparency and accountability of the public fund, which is to be utilized for the public welfare in the name of socio-economic governance. And basically, the Bengal have been cited. So now let's see what actually the central government takes an action on this and how to utilize that fund. So basically, expenditure which is incurred on these works was bogus, fake bills have been produced, and wages paid to the workers have been siphoned by the functionaries at different levels. So the most important note here is that the fund Manrega is diluted, but this is not the case for Bengal only. This is a case of across India, because in some amount or other it is happening across the India. So we should try to look in a very comprehensive picture and should try to curb these irregularities which is happening. So Tanzania president became first woman to be awarded with JNU doctorate. So this shows that how we are strengthening the relations as far as the South, as far as the African countries are concerned. And with the Tanzania relation, we have the economic diplomacy, success in regional integration, multilateralism, and this award of an honorary doctorate by the JNU itself shows that how much important this university is, that it is appraised across the world for its research and humanistic development. Then MHA asked NIA to probe little above. Yeah. MHA asked NIA to probe Kuki zombie militant groups for Manipur unrest as talks continue. So we can see that the constant watch the Minister of Home Affairs is having on this matter, where the Manipur peace, prosperity, and law and order is primarily taken by the government, and various intelligence security agencies have been put out there. So KNA is a military wing of Kuki National Organization, one of the key political organizations representing Kukis in the Manipur. And Zomi Revolutionary Army is an armed Zomi national insurgency group formed in 1997. So basically, both are the militant and insurgent groups working and active in the Manipur, and are the major cause, as far the MHA is concerned, for the unrest in the talks as well as in disrupting the law and order situation in the state. So it has been learned that some Manipur-based Kuki militants groups are being provided funds from Chin Kuki Zo groups in Myanmar to perpetuate violence in the Imphal Valley. So what we can draw here is that this Manipur violence is not only the domestic issue. It has been fueled by the international borders, especially if we talk about the Myanmar also, because of the insurgent groups who have their base across the territories, especially in Myanmar. And obviously, we can't say that they will not be fueled by China, because definitely some sort of association it might be getting from there also, but we cannot claim it as far as we don't have some solid proofs against them.
Yeah, so we can go ahead with as a solution the free movement regime that exists between India and Myanmar. So we are seeing that that is in a way it is being misused. So we need to now look into the relevance, the application, the applicability of the free movement regime that exists right now.
Yeah. So PM Modi's political ownership of relationship with Israel is guided by changed geopolitics and India's interest. So it was not surprising that Hamas attack on Israel over the weekend quickly acquired domestic and political dimension in India. Congress party difficulty in reacting to this attack has been the main opposition. The political dynamic between India and Middle East cut deeper geopolitics of the Middle East in the 20th century, international relations of South Asia, which is more intensive character and partition. But the changes in the Indian policy in the Middle East has been more consequential during the tenure of the current Prime Minister. PM Narasimha Rao followed the UG by establishing the full diplomatic relations with Israel. Atal Bihari Vajpayee built on foundation and ended Delhi's reluctance to have the relations with Israel. But now we are seeing that second, the NDA government has sought to align India's position closer to its allies and believe that Delhi must be the cross on the Palestinian cause. The violent religious extremism of Hamas and other forces threatens not only Israel but also the moderate Arab states. The shared consensus have opened space for cooperation between Israel and several other Arab states. The divisions within Palestine too have deep between the Palestinian Authority and Hamas. So as we were talking, I think yesterday also, that between the Palestinian Authority and the Hamas, there are also tensions to acquire the power. And contrary to this widespread perception, the NDA government is not abandoning the Palestine. It maintains solid ties with the Palestinian authorities. The Modi government is unwilling, though, to nudge the question of terror, as a Congress working committee did on Monday. So the political focus on India's current solidarity with Israel marks the transformation of Delhi ties to the Arab world in last decade. And if India was hobbled by its mercantilist approach to the oil-rich Gulf in the past, the Khalji capital today promises to contribute to economic growth. Then what we can see is that India's partner with the US, Israel, and UAE in ITU2 grouping. Delhi has teamed up with the US, Europe, Saudi, and UAE to build a corridor between the subcontinent and Europe via the Arab Peninsula. India's critique of Hamas terror puts it out on the same side as West, even as Russia, China, and much of the global South offer a wishy-washy, two-handed reaction to the terror attack. Finally, the biggest challenge in India's Middle East policy under the Modis remains understated, delinking of India's regional diplomacy from the region, and partition and Pak's quest for mobilizing support in the Middle East in the name of Islamic solidarity severely complicated the India's engagement with the region. This was further muddled by the Congress claim for Muslim vote at home. So that is not as a concern. The region's recent history shows in how nationalism, ethnicity, tribalism, and securitarianism continue to trump the presumed Islamic solidarity. In the pragmatic pursuit of common interest with the Arab world has produced many gains for Delhi. In the last years, the framework for religion kinship has yielded little dividend for Pakistan. as the current tragedy propels the politics of Middle East into new and danger moments, the structural trends in the Middle East to build a new national consensus on engaging the region is a prime concern. So I believe, this is my personal opinion, that as far as the author C. Raja Mohan has suggested, that some religious framework has provided dividend to Pakistan also. That is true. But I think today when we are talking about the economic prosperity of the world and we are focusing on the global commons, global causes, I don't think that this religion-based biasness by the Arab towards Pakistan, which is paying dividend to it, has actually will prove a detrimental to India, because as far as the UAE is concerned, in UAE also were having the similar stance with the Pakistan, but today what we are seeing, that is a revolutionary change as far as the diplomatic relations between UAE and India is concerned, and that depends on the economic supremacy and economic capabilities. So I think as far as the India's relations with the Arab world and with Israel is concerned, India has always maintained its democratic stance, which is appraised by the Arab world also, and that has paid a lot of homage to India. But I think the more economic um, angle in robusting these relations with the Arab world and also with the Israel is going to help India, uh, in which the religion I don't think will play a major part.
True.
So if you can't share a table, creation of vegetarian only spaces reinforces social hierarchies. But how it is so? Let's have a look what the author wants to say. Rule of segregation based on food preferences cannot be formally institutionalized in public spaces or even housing societies. There can only be informal social pressures and regulations. But I think that this is a biased and highly, sentimental statement which is given by the author, where he's saying that creation of vegetarian only spaces reinforces. If you go in the army, if you go in the paramilitary forces, so we do have these institutional setup of separation where the vegetarians eat in a different mode and the non-veg eat in a different mode. We have separate forms of utensils also in the institutional forms. Militant vegetarianism is a social illness that seeks segregation and hierarchy, even leads to violence. So I think that these kinds of terminologies which the author has used, this shows that how much propagating um, ideas he's forwarding for the non-veg culture, but he should respect the vegetarian culture also and its basic principle, that is the purity and pollution. Because according to vegetarians, it is considered that they live life that is pure, and cutting someone and eating someone, that is also a social hierarchy. So we should not press our views on a major section which is eating vegetarian food. As far as Mansi is concerned, I would like to ask you, Mansi, that what is your view?
My view is again, this thing, like this article is putting it in a like too extreme manner. I would be going with that it is important to respect each and every individual's decision about the food habits that they want to follow. And if creation of these segregated spaces is concerned, so herein also the mindset of the people comes in. You can misuse this step also, and this can be respected at the same time.
But
So
how this can be misused? For an example, you are a vegetarian, I'm a non-vegetarian, right? I am eating in my segregated area, and you are eating in your segregated area.
no, if it
But let's
takes, yeah, if it takes the form of, a religious biasness or the division on the basis of religion, so it can be, violent in certain pockets. Not, I can't say that this would be a generalized thing visible, but again, that can be tackled through, again, the proper law and order thing, the laws that we have and the police that we have. So I would be supporting that creation of segregated spaces is something that I would be supporting, because respecting each and every person's food habits is important. As we also as talk about the fundamental rights that exist when you talk about Article 21 also. So it is an important part of that as well.
And the beauty of India is that when we go into the Muslims, family, when we not in the family, the Muslims occasions, especially the marriages. So we do see that there is a separation of veg food and non-veg food. That is not creating a problem. That is actually providing a space. That is actually providing a respect that we are eating something, but we are also respecting your diet.
Yes, exactly. So it is important to look at this problem or this new say development from this angle, as you just mentioned, that respecting each other's food habits is important.
Yeah.
So that's there.
So in space with Prada, so what actually this Prada is talking about? The fashion behemoth collaboration with NASA's Artemis third mission marries style with practicality. So giving the image of the astronaut as a Greek kick twist, Italian fashion behemoth Prada has announced a tie-up with Texas-based Axiom Space for the spaceflight services to design spacesuits for NASA Artemis. So basically, this is the collaboration between the Prada company and the NASA's Artemis, where the spacesuits will be designed by this, and obviously in a very fabulous manner, because of which this company is known across the world. And sailing suits are integral to how well as a competitor performs, as in water. Here the rustle of skill, silks, and confidence of colors that run away. And so I don't think that careful engineering should be done. Extravehicular activity suits by the NASA, especially for the spacewalks, and they maintain the human body, the temperature, and extreme temperature, fluctuating pressure, radiation, environmental vagaries. And the Prada will be working as one part of the collaborative effort to enhance the much needed human factors considerations of the traditional designs. So Prada might just be the best accessory to the scientific achievement. So this is a kind of news which we told. So I think about this we have talked a lot of times. So why Gandhi was against a Jewish state in the Palestine? So let's look. Palestine belongs to the Arabs in the same sense that England belongs to the English or French to French. This is the statement of Mahatma Gandhi who wrote in the book Harijat. Gandhi article, The Jews, has been a subject of intense debate over the years, cited as an evidence of his name by some, while others have seen it as a further proof of deep commitment with non-violence regardless of the consequences. His sympathy for the Jews. So Gandhi was actively conscious of his historical persecution of the Jewish people for their religion, deeply sympathetic to them, and they have been the untouchables of the Christianity, which according to Gandhi he justified. The parallel between their treatment by Christians and the treatment of untouchables by Hindus is very close. Religious sanctions has been involved in both the cases. गांधी जी ने लिखा है कि द जर्मन परसिक्यूशन हुआ जूस का वो सीम्स वो ऐसा लगता है हैव बीन पैरेलल इन द हिस्ट्री एंड एक्सप्रेस्ड हिज कंसर्न विद ब्रिटेन पॉलिसी ऑफ प्लेकेटिंग एडोल्फ हिटलर अगर जस्टिफाइबल वार रहा हो नेम ऑफ ह्यूमैनिटी that is a war against Germany to prevent the wanton persecution of a whole race. His concerns for Arabs. The Mahatma did not support a Zionist state in Palestine. It is wrong and inhumane to impose a Jews on the Arabs. It would be a crime against humanity to reduce the proud Arabs so that Palestine can be restored to the Jews, partly or wholly. Palestinian was already home to Arab Palestinians, and the settlement of Jews, which Britain actively enabled, was a fundamentally violent. A religion act cannot be performed with the aid of the beyond of the bomb. Gandhi felt the Jews could settle in Palestine only with the goodwill of the Arabs. And for that, they had to forego the British bayonet. Gandhi felt that the idea of Jewish homeland was fundamentally antithetical towards the fight for greater rights elsewhere in the world. If Jews have no home but Palestine, so national home afforded a colorable justification for the German expulsion. Now, what is the India's foreign policy as far as the Mahatma Gandhi is concerned? Like the Mahatma leaders across the Arab world and the anti-imperialists beyond work appealed by Britain's administration of Palestine and Balfour Declaration of 1970, which promised Jews a homeland in the British Mandate. The British author Jew himself wrote about the declaration, and Gandhi's opinion had a profound impact on Jawaharlal Nehru, that along with Nehru's own anti-imperialism was responsible for shaping independence India's foreign policy for decades, and India voted against UN Resolution 181, which partitioned mandatory Palestinian between Jews and Arabs, which was adopted by General Assembly. And while India did recognize the state of Israel in 15, official diplomatic relations were not established until 1992 when Narasimha Rao became the Prime Minister. So what we can say is that the India since Gandhi itself have taken a stance with Palestine and Palestine also, and obviously have suggested that Palestinians and obviously the Arab world's rights should be recognized by all the world, especially the UK and the US. But there is no concrete plan has come as far as the Palestinian cause is concerned, despite this much attention reflected by Gandhi, Nehru, and other leaders. So, once if you would like to suggest something.
I would just like to add up that when we talk about now the current situation and thinking about how peace can be restored, so it is important for the Arab world to also recognize the rights of the Jews, and at the same time, Jews also needs to be basically they need to be in similar terms on the same terms when it comes to putting this war to an end and the long drawn conflict that has been continuing since so many years. So that is
So I think,
one thing
yeah,
that is
I think,
highlighted by even Mahatma Gandhi and his ideas also.
okay.
Like
So
here,
I think, yeah, I want to add on to you that मुझे ये लगता है कि like India and Pakistan, so sorry, India and China's diplomatic relations have strained frequently, but not constantly in different periods of time. But despite that, both the countries are working on very good terms as far as the the respect to each other's territorial integrity is concerned, security is concerned. No, mega scale bloodshed happens between these two countries, and obviously, in the economic terms, both the countries are having 9 and 10 ratio as far as the economic relations are concerned. The model of India and China should be learned by the Israel and Palestine to not allow third party to interfere in their matters to settle the disputes, which the India and China has always appraised. Either no Western country, no Russia, no US has been allowed by both these two countries to actually have a say in these relations between, as far as we are also seen the Doklam issue and the killing of our soldiers. But despite that, both the countries respected that we should not allow any third party. So Palestine and Israel should try to sit on a table, if not on a table, but with the diplomatic channels. They should take each other into confidence that the solution can come only if they will meet and they will understand each other's situation rather than letting others to fuel their condition.
so herein just I would like to say that the problem is that Palestine is not a country or they are not having a separate country in this case. So Israel के पास upper hand है. So it is important for Israel to understand the situation and at the same time वो Israel के ऊपर भी कहीं ना कहीं negative impact डाल रहा है जो war हो रहा है. Obviously that is not benefiting Israel, but because it enjoys a kind of an upper hand, or we can say it is comparatively stronger to the Palestine or the Jews. So that is why it is basically not, that comes ki aapki power kitni hai. So you would not like to give up that power and ensure ki peace settle ho jaye, jo issue hai wo settle ho jaye. So
we are talking about the solution. If they want solution, if Israel wants solution, because as far as you the point you raised that Palestinian is nothing, you are not saying nothing, but Palestinian is weak as far as Israel is concerned. But the similar situation happens in the between India and China.
But
we
we can't compare China, India, China, full-fledged countries. We are independent countries.
I accept that both are sovereign countries and Palestinian is not a country as such. But despite that, if we want a solution, I'm saying if we want a solution, so obviously they should come on a table, as the North Korea, South Korea came on a table.
Yes, yeah, that is important for solution. Yes, when we talk about what are the possible solutions, so एक ही solution है जो exist करता है कि जो territorial rights है जो Jews demand कर रहे हैं, Palestinians demand कर रहे हैं, वो उनको मिलनी चाहिए. और कोई possible solution मेरे को नहीं नजर आता है अभी.
Okay, so can you suggest me that why the Israel is not giving that?
वही तो बोला ना, Israel के पास upper hand है. It is also enjoying the support of other advanced countries like US and UK. और Israel उसको deny भी नहीं कर रहा है कि we do not allow intervention of any third country. तो उसकी वजह से Israel वो अपनी जो dominant power है Israel क्यों give up करना चाहेगा जब Israel जो चाहता
है क्या इंटरेस्ट है इजराइल के उस जगह पर जो इजराइल छोड़ना ही नहीं चाहता डिस्पाइट इतने अटैक्स रहता है.
इसराइल के जो इंटरेस्ट, वही मतलब टेरिटोरियल क्लेम्स जो है, टेरिटोरियल राइट्स जो अभी पावर्स इसराइल के पास हैं, वो ज्यादा इसराइल के इंटरेस्ट में है या इसराइल के फेवर में है. सो दैट इज द मेन रीजन.
I think there would be a number of other reasons, so that we will see and we'll look in detail कि क्या other reasons हैं. Because just on the territorial base, obviously they would have some strategic interest, some economic interest definitely, which is making Israel to actually acquire that particular area.
डेफिनेटली दे वुड बी देयर, इकोनॉमिक इंटरेस्ट जरूर होंगे ही होंगे. और जो अगेन फ्रॉम द पर्सपेक्टिव ऑफ इवन स्ट्रैटेजी ऑल्सो, तो वो पावर ज्यादा इसराइल के फेवर में. अभी इसराइल ज्यादा पावर एंजॉय करते हैं, तो इसराइल अपनी पावर गिव अप करना नहीं चाहेगा. एंड प्लस पैलेस्टीन ऐसे कोई कंट्री नहीं है, तो उनकी वो जो डिमांड्स है, मेनली वो डिमांड्स है, बेसिकली कोई सॉवरेन कंट्री या सॉवरेन पावर नहीं एग्जिस्ट करता है पैलेस्टीन, तो इसलिए मेन प्रॉब्लम यही है.
Okay. So why is Israel an attractive destination for the caregivers from India? So Indian caregivers in Israel, a Western country's age, nursing officer career opportunities for Indians around the world. So number one, we have the nursing opportunities in the Israel, and especially the most high numbers of caregivers coming from the Kerala. A caregiver in Israel can expect a take-home salary of 1.25 lakh per month. Obviously, this is a very good as far as the India is concerned. Whereas Fortis like hospitals, you have just 40-50,000 salary of the nurses. The food, accommodation, and healthcare are free, and a caregiver visa for Israel is issued for a period of 4 years and 3 months. A caregiver would have to spend the entire day at the home of the elderly, treat it well, provide them facilities at the client's home, and if caregiver's client dies, the caregiver is free to look for a new employer. So obviously, the rules and the protocols are somewhat um, less stringent in the caregiver sector. Their salaries, Indian nursing professionals often get meager salaries in Indian hospital, as I just gave the examples. Many of them are women who are taking a break from the profession after the marriage. And obviously, the workload is also very high as far as the Indian medical sector is concerned, if we talk about the private sector. Uh, and so, yes, if we talk about the nursing profession as such, so we should try to reform some sort of nursing, because in the last couple of years, we also saw the nursing bill which came, which provided some sort of regulations into the medical education of the nursing, their enrollment and their pay scale. So overall, their conditions should be improved so that their salary increase, their mental stress reduce, and they provide services to Indians also. So this we have talked about the direct tax in the earlier paper, and infrastructure, wars, labor issues, apart protectionism could deter the investment flows as far as the Germans and more is concerned. So these are the important things which is saying. And IMF raises India's GDP forecast marginally to 6.3% for the current fiscal. Then RBI asked Bank of Baroda to suspend new customer onboarding on app. So this is a regulatory action which is taken by the RBI and the bank, and the customer onto the Bank of Baroda's world, the lender's mobile banking application under the Section 35A of the Banking Regulation Act 1949, based on certain material supervisory concerns. So these types of regulatory actions and timely actions the RBI is known to take on various banks, and RBI to extend prompt corrective actions, norms to government on NBFCs to have a proper surveillance on their um, receipts and expenditures on their accounts to prevent the NPA-like problems as far as the NBFC is concerned. So of pressure and expectations. So what we can draw here is that lack of competition matches played a role in women's hockey semi-final loss to China, says coach Chompan. So
Wherein basically we can talk
obviously,
about कि importance क्या है और जो local level पे जो competitions किए जाते हैं इंडिया में basically, so definitely वो जो skills enhance करने में important role play करते हैं आप, you know, you be in your form, आप periodically assess भी कर सकते हो अपनी performance को, तो we need to ensure कि ये local level पे जो matches किए जाएं ये periodically organize होने चाहिए.
yes.
So I think that's all for the day. Pravesh, we have completed the important articles.
Okay, so thank you so much, and we'll meet tomorrow with the next newspapers. Stay with us and keep watching. Thank you so much.